Welcome everyone. I'm going to be showcasing Fire Emblem The Lonely Mirror, a Fire Emblem ROM hack created by Caladrius. My name is Caladrius and I am the maker of this ROM hack. I'm also joined by a co-commentator, Mr. X. He's actually going to be the one playing the chapter that we are going to be showing, which is chapter 19, and we're ready to get started.
Hello guys!
So I'm showcasing chapter 19, Hearts of Grey. We're going to be skipping all the dialogue and really just showing the gameplay part of this. Our team has already been set for this battle.
Okay, let's get started.
So real quick, the reason I wanted to showcase chapter 19 is really because this is a middle chapter. It's in the middle of the game. Currently, as of September 2020, there are 29 chapters that are released. It goes from the prologue to chapter 29 and also has 3 prelude maps. So there is a lot of content out there for this ROM hack. For this particular chapter, the objective of this map is a survive 9 turns, and you have to do this while also keeping 3 out of the 4 watchmen alive. So the watchmen are the green units, which kind of suck. They're not really good, so they need special protection. Your army is also divided into really 3 territories. You have Grant and Virgil here, and Princess Leia, Brett and Catherine up in the north. And the main party in which you deploy would be in the south east part quadrant of the map. And your goal is to make sure that each of these watchmen survive. At least 3 out of 4 of them. Like I said, they're not very strong, so... So in general, I have put a lot of focus on creating unique map objectives throughout the whole Lonely Mirror experience. It's not going to be necessarily route style maps or Seize the Throne style maps. There's usually some other theme or other objective at play. For example, this is a survive map, but you also have another goal of saving a bunch of green units. Other maps, I have Chapter 16, for example, is an escape style map where everyone begins the map unarmed and you slowly regain your party and collect weapons in order to complete that chapter. And there are other chapters where the objective will change halfway through it and you could be caught off guard and have to do something totally different. And there's also another example is a map is a 2 against many, which is actually, that's Prelude 3. And that is a map I really like.
So I guess I'm just trying to slowly split up my team to cover the whole map, to protect all the watchmen, try not to spread myself too thin, as I'm assuming there'll be reinforcements coming in, and
There will be.
Some of these monsters are quite strong.
I will say that we are playing on normal mode. This is not hard mode. Actually, hard mode hasn't really been tested for the last year that this has been in development. And recently I've actually gone through and rebalanced a lot of that, which I'll speak to that later more. Also, Miles is so good. I love him.
Just for the sake of this playthrough, I'm also going to be a little more cavalier in my playing than I normally am.
Yeah,
So
you're playing like how I play.
If anyone dies, it will showcase their nice death quotes rather than being a mistake. I'm also a little unfamiliar with this controller, so you might see me struggling a little bit.
So what's your plan then? How are you going to beat this map?
I'll eventually beat it. We'll see how it goes.
Probably. I'm confident in your ability.
I am typically a little bit more of a defensive player, but try and switch my strategy and be a little bit more offensive here to showcase some of the characters.
You're getting great level ups this map.
Yeah, usually these look like your level ups, and usually I have much better level ups than you do.
I promise the stat growths of characters are actually pretty decent. It's not like everyone gets like one stat growth per level, which Virgil and Parvati both got. So hopefully someone else levels up in something more than one.
I hope so too, because that will make this map much easier.
Indeed.
Should be everyone. See, Brett got attacked. He should survive. I hope.
He's not getting doubled. Those things are super slow. Granted, Brett's not super fast.
I was hoping he'd at least kill it, but that's fine. That gives me more things to do in that quadrant.
Well, I Wanda. Be stronger. Virgil's so good.
See, Brett should take a page out of Virgil's book. Be able to kill some things.
You know, sometimes a lot of characters should take a page out of Virgil's book. Virgil is pretty good. Consistently pretty good. At least when I play.
Showcase how strong your watchmen are in this this turn. As you can see, they take quite a bit of damage, and they don't dish out that much damage.
They're also really stupid. They like, I don't know. They're just not very smart.
So you can see the necessity to be a little bit more aggressive on this map to cover.
Well, it's really the top one that's getting hit by that centaur thing, or I forget what they're called, Tarvos.
Tarvos.
And the one in the center. Grant and Virgil should. I don't know. That they get overwhelmed pretty quickly, so you need to help them.
And it's always nice that you can at least let one of them die. So if you're doing poorly in one area, you can just sacrifice it.
So the Lonely Mirror is a very story-centric game. And I'm sorry I'm skipping the dialogue, but for those who want to play it with more of a fresh take, I don't want to spoil chapter 19 because it's sort of a midway chapter. But the Lonely Mirror is actually broken into 2 parts, or 2 major segments, and follows 2. Oh my gosh, another 1.
That is quite unusual.
Well, it happens. Oh, there's a credit. Anyway, so it follows 2 main characters, and actually chapter 19 is the map where both main characters meet up with each other. I sort of think of this as similar to or Fire Emblem 7's Noble Lady of Kalen, where Hector and Elwood meet up with Lady Lindis, and they save the day. So, to give you an overview of the story, long ago, 5 champions helped to seal away the demon dragon Dracvala using sacred musical instruments. The heirs of the champions were trusted to hide away these sacred relics. They each set out from the once golden kingdom in Eliora to find new nations on the continent of Artemis. 2 of these nations, Amatona and Celeste, have had 1,000 years of bad blood, and one day tensions escalate when Celeste invades Amatona. Princess Leah, she's the main character of the first arc of the game, and that's where the story begins. And she journeys to restore her homeland and understand the origin of conflict with Celeste. Along the way, she uncovers an ancient cult determined to collect the sacred instruments for reasons unknown. But the evidence points to a looming threat for all of Artemis. And after that resolves, the story continues with Boone, who, after you're done, show Boone. Or use Boone.
Yeah, Boone's coming up next.
Yeah,
Boone.
Boone. So he is the main character of the second story, and it takes place after a 4-year time skip, and he is a young mercenary that wants to chase after this ancient cult to get answers to something that happened to a respected friend and father figure of his. And he also is additionally curious about his bloodline, and which actually has ties to this cult. So that's kind of where the second story takes off. And it leads to chapter 19, and you do meet up with some of the characters from the first story.
So far, so good.
Yeah. And considering I've rebalanced along normal mode is not as hectic as before. I played this the other day on hard mode, and This map is actually pretty challenging. Oh gosh, twice. Jeez, come on, get more than one!
Okay. Finally a good level up.
And it's wise. He decided not to disappoint me today.
This Watchman should be able to take a smack to the face.
He should be.
That should be okay.
I feel like Wise deserves to go again.
He should be. Should be able to finish, hopefully, the sword user in the lower corner here.
I think you think he is
Yeah,
much better than he actually is.
Well, hopefully I'll create a little bit of a barrier
Good, yeah.
so Noelle doesn't get smacked in the face. So she should,
You could also use the bow. Maybe they'll go after him instead. Nah, they wouldn't.
no, 'cause she's unarmed. She'll probably still get smacked in the face, but that's okay. Let's see what they can do
They
there.
can't kill her.
There you
Oh,
go.
and she dodged.
Wise should take a page out of her book as well.
He really does love getting hit at low percentages. I don't know why. It's like a common theme with him. That guy is.
There you
Fine.
go, that's good. Middle Watchman seems to be secure for the moment. Virgil is doing his job for cleaning up that part of the map.
That Watchman's actually pretty good. At least defensively.
Yeah, it should take a while for him to die. This one's more worrisome, but
Yeah, that one at least has an axe for her.
seems to be fairly going fairly well so far.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have an issue with this.
So let's see how these reinforcements go.
So I think we should probably talk about some of the characters, because I'm sure like that is a big focal point of Fire Emblem. So we'll just go over them, and whenever you use them, let's talk about them.
We'll start here.
Okay, so Catherine is a cleric, and she is the handmaid to Princess Leia. She is like actually the main healer in the first part of the game, and she actually just in general has pretty good stats. She's decently fast. Her stats are focused a lot in skill. She has really good skill. Her magic's decent. Her luck's really good, which is very close to that of the cleric archetype. And she is a little defensive. Her HP is pretty bad, though. I will say that. So you do get a Seraph Robe early, she is a decent candidate for that if you plan on using Catherine. Princess Leah, she is the main character of the first part of the game. She's essentially a magic swordsman, and her personal weapon, which she doesn't have right now, she will be getting that in chapter 20, but she does get her personal weapon in the first story, but it is a magic sword. And she's pretty fast and lucky with good skill, but kind of bad defenses. Her HP's okay. So Brett is, he's a noble and he's an advisor to the Queen of Amatona. And he's a fire mage. And actually, speaking of like fire mages, the Lonely Mirror does break out fire magic, wind magic, and thunder magic into separate classes. And even the fire mage has like a different promotional tree than the wind mage. Brett tends to be focused in power and skill. And actually his HP growth is decent too. So he hits hard and he hits accurate. But if you... Oh, we're going to Virgil now?
You can continue with Brett. You have more to say?
I don't have too much to say, but I will say that the way that the anima magic triangle works in this game is it's not a traditional magic triangle. It is a super effective triangle, as in fire magic does extra damage to wind magic classes, and wind magic does extra damage to thunder magic classes, and thunder magic does extra damage to fire magic classes, for the most part. There's like one exception. Virgil is, he's a knight, also from Amatona. He's friends with Grant, the armor knight, and he's an axe knight. So, it's similar to the division of the anima triangle. I have also divided cavaliers into axe knights, sword knights, and lance knights. And Virgil he's really strong. He has really good strength growth, his HP is pretty good. He's actually decently fast and lucky too. And he's overall just a good person to have on your team. Grant is an armor knight, and really is focused in armor knight specific stats. HP, power, skill, and defense. And force, speed, and resistance, and luck is also not super hot either. But I will say that I know traditionally armor units tend to be not super liked in the Fire Emblem community, but there are enough instances where armor units can be really good, especially in part 1. Grant is a really nice unit to have around. There are points in which you will want to choke. So I guess continuing off of like the fire magic discussion with Brett, Joseph his previous class was Wind Mage, and he is the Wind Mage in this game. And he actually has already promoted into a Dark Griffin, which is one of his promotion options, which is a flying dark and wind magic user that is actually super effectively weak to fire. Joseph is the Prince of Celeste, and he's a pretty good mage. Honestly, his defense should not be that high. That is a random generator bless. But he tends to be the faster, luckier magic user, with not as much power as Brett. also the Dark Griffin is a class that I made using some of the existing Griffin Knight animations and kind of meshing it with some of the Valkyrie and other Magic class animations to create that new class for this game. Alright, so Lord Wise Ashmont. He is a noble from the Ashmont family in Berga. And Berga is I spoke about Amatona and Celeste. Berga is a third nation on the continent of Aramath, and he is an important figure in that country. And he's a Wyvern Rider. I actually think he's a very interesting character because he starts with bases similar to that of your typical Wyvern Rider with high HP, strength, and defense, but his growth rates are similar to that of a Pegasus Knight. So he ends up kind of like falling into like a really well-balanced flying unit, which is actually pretty valuable, and he's fun to use. Though he does miss, like, he dodges poorly when he shouldn't, but that's my personal experience, so.
He also crits a lot more than he should, in my personal experience.
That's a good thing, then. So, Miles is, he's an assassin right now, but his original class is a Myrmidon, and he's your speedy swordsman of the game. And despite being sword blocked, Miles is, I think, a very valuable unit to have. He's actually decently strong, has really good looks and speed, his skill's decent. His defense is actually kind of okay too. In general, he has pretty good growth rates, and he's kind of your go-to guy if you just want someone really dodgy and that can do some good damage. Assassin class also comes with bows too, so he's not necessarily a completely sword block unit. Noelle is a dancer. You pick her up in a village on the border of Berga and Celeste, and there's nothing super special about her. She's a dancer that can't use weapons. Unlike some of the newer instances of dancers, she's kind of like your standard dancer who makes someone go again. Like Miles, for example. Although I don't know what you're going to do with Miles.
Showcasing the dancing ability. You can just go here.
That's like in every Fire Emblem game. So Liang is an outlaw class, which I think was from Fire Emblem Fates, I believe. That's one that was first introduced. So he's pretty close to what is considered normal for an outlaw class. He has low power and good speed and resistance, and also has the ability to use lockpicks and steal. So he's basically a thief that wields a bow. But he can actually be a really good counter to mages, I find. And one of his promotions is Adventurer, a bow staff user. And it's great to have another healer sometimes to support. So. Ariel is a Valkyrie, originally a troubadour, so she is promoted. And She is the co-commander of the White Lions, or acting co-commander of the White Lions, which Boone is also a part of. And there's nothing super special about her. She's the main healer for, I guess, the second half of the game until you get Catherine back, which is chapter 19, where you can make a determination of which healer to use or use both. It's up to you. She tends to be focused on speed. Really just speed. A lot of speed. She's really fast. And her other stats are just kind of middling. So Valkyries also use light magic in this game, which is the same as Fire Emblem 8. I know they have used lots of different types of weaponry in the past games. So. Parvati is a unique class to this game. She is someone who's traveling the world to find runes and relics from a lost civilization. And her class uses runes, which are essentially items. They're low in durability, and like it's usually 5 or 6 uses depending on the rune. And she's able to essentially use every type of magic. Drain Runes is basically casting a stronger version of Nosferatu. And Air Rune is similar to an Elwind. It also has the same properties as Elwind, so it can deal extra damage to Pegasi and Thunder Magic users. Frost Rune is just a spell with improved critical hit rate. And Bright Rune is a light magic rune, but it's also effective against monsters. So the way she works is you can find runes on maps. There's usually two or three to find. I'd say the average is 2. Sometimes there's only 1 rune on the map. And she can pick them up and be used sparingly, but she's also really powerful when used right. It's also just kind of fun to use. Yeah, Bright Rune's a little overkill there. But if you wanted to
Just showcasing off the Bright Rune.
do like what? A lot of damage?
That skeleton was giving me a evil eye.
I mean, we've talked about Boone, but he's the main character of the second part of the game. And he's a pikeman, so he is focused in lances. His stats, I don't even know if the stats that you just showed are what he... Every time I use him, he ends up different, but he's pretty good in strength and HP. He's decently fast and has good defense. For me, personally, he never has luck and resistance, so it's very similar to Ike. Although Ike has really good skill, but...
Yeah, my Boone,
you've had different experiences with him.
my Boone usually turns out much luckier than this.
I think his growth rate's 45%, and I can never get him to get luck ever, but that's just me. Sylvan is, he's a brigand, and he is a thug that you meet in part 1, but now he's trying to live straight life. He loves food and ale. He's also a really good axe user and has a custom animation, brigand animation, which he has like a little bit of a beer gut to kind of correlate with his personality and just love for food and drinks. And Wanda's the last character we have, right?
Yep.
Yep, she is a Lynx Knight, so the counterpart to Virgil. There's also a playable Sword Knight to Travis, but we are not bringing him on this map. And Wanda is, I'd say the closest character comparison is Fiona from Fire Emblem 10. She's got good speed, good luck, good defense, and good resistance, but her power and skill suffer. So she's great if you want like a mobile wall. She also joins earlier than Fiona, so there's that.
So hopefully I'll clean up a couple more monsters on this enemy phase.
Hopefully there are more monsters. You're having way too easy of a time.
There's always more monsters.
Yeah, well this probably happened after I rebalanced normal mode to make it slightly easier, and hard mode just got a lot better. I like hard mode now.
So that was an inconvenient place for the monster to go.
Why?
We'll see if Leah can reach it with her ranged sword. See, plenty of monsters. Lots of reinforcements. Okay, let's take care of this corner first.
That's exactly what you want.
Actually, yeah, because this Tarvos is... Oh, there we go, a nice crit. Is quite threatening. Brett should have enough resistance, although not enough speed, to...
Still a relatively safe move. You can heal him. Or you cannot. Hopefully we can show off that death quote.
He's not necessary anymore. I feel like the Watchman is gonna need a little bit more help.
Okay, good. We didn't get one growth again.
It was okay, it was okay. Okay, let's see, down in here. What do I want to do?
Kill the archer.
These archers are quite annoying. Let's hope Virgil hits.
Although, granted, I think Joseph could probably withstand a steel bow with that defense.
He does have very good defense.
Maybe not with 24, but...
Seems a little overkill. So, Caladrius, what got you into modding Fire Emblem games?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. Difficult to answer. Well, I've always just really liked the Fire Emblem series as a whole. It might be my favorite game series. Probably is. Actually, definitely is. And I don't know, I've just been wanting to do it for a while, and been wanting to make a game, and I just went for it. I'm also very, persistent and dedicated. So, when I say I'm gonna do a project, I don't want to give up. So, it's... And speaking of which, there's only, gonna be 3 more chapters left to build that I have, so this game is nearing completion. I might even be completed this year, so almost done.
Impressive.
Yeah, I put a lot of work into it.
For those people out there that are interested in beginning to mod. Did you have any experience modding before you picked up this project, or?
You're asking difficult questions. So, I actually played around with Fire Emblem ROM hacking prior to the creation of like FE Builder. I would like fool around and make different chapters and Fire Emblem 7, add new characters, like nothing that I officially released. It was more like a trial to see if, you know, it would be possible to make my, like, a whole game. And then one day I see, like, FE Builder was a thing. And I was like, wow, this is going to make it so much easier, so I don't have to, like, keep adding code to different offsets and stuff, and remembering where they are with all the pointers. So, I dabbled in it. I was familiar with at least how it worked, but it took like really a couple years of just hammering out. FE Builder's a lot simpler though, so I think someone could get started and learn the tool pretty quickly if you know, with some dedication, and the community is usually really great at answering questions. So.
Well, that's great. Good news for young modders out there, or old, or I guess it was more inexperienced modders out there.
Yes,
that there's a nice community available for these actions.
You just really like blowing stuff up in party.
She's a good unit. A very good unit.
She's an interesting unit. I am still not sure who's good unit yet.
Speaking of units, who are some of your least and most favorite units? I guess in terms of, since you've played this quite a bit, with
I have playtested
quite a lot of units, who seems to do well for you, who seems to not do well, who do you like to use? Kind of.
So I've pretty much used every character in this game. Maybe with the exception of Osias, I really haven't put in the time for him. He's a character that starts really late though. Who does well?
I guess even though.
Or who do I like to use?
Who do you like to use?
I really like using Miles a lot. I think I usually find myself using him to an extent every playthrough. Even when he gets strength screwed, I still find him to be pretty valuable. So he's a character that I usually like using. Honestly, I think Sylvan's pretty fun, especially when he becomes a berserker and critical hits things all the time. Because Sylvan has really good skill growth, so he's a very accurate axe user, which I find really cool. Ariel, I think, is really good as like a main healer. I go back and forth with all the archers in the game. Liang, Winifred is another one, Kaden and Benji, like, it's usually, I think, fun to have at least one archer on your team. And all the different archers are very, they offer something different to your team. So, I think it's always fun to pick one of them up. I think Wise is really good. I've had a really good experience with him. Joseph is very good too. I feel like those are units that are just, they're almost like too good not to invest some time into, and you know, maybe they make your team at the end, maybe they don't, but I find them very good.
And who do you usually struggle to use?
I have a personal grudge against, from a stat growth perspective or a character perspective.
Let's do character first, because that's
Okay,
always interesting. Since
I-
you created a lot of these characters.
I have a personal grudge on Faith. Mostly because I just feel like I love to hate Faith. I do love Faith. She's a character that joins later, but she is a prevalent character in part 1. She's a Pegasus Knight. And there's a character named Helga who really hates Faith for whatever reason. And I just find the whole dynamic really funny. So she's just kind of become my go-to, like, character to rag on for no apparent reason.
That's interesting. Now, as you mentioned, you've put a lot of effort and work into this. What has been kind of your favorite part in designing this ROM hack in terms of character creation, writing, map creation? What have you found most enjoyable?
All of it. I think the most enjoyable thing is not doing the same thing twice, really. Like, I work on it every week, multiple days, pretty much at least 6 days a week, sometimes 7. And I usually have like days where I'm like, okay, today I'm working on portraits, or today I'm going to work on maps, and today I'm working on writing. The most challenging of those, I think, is writing. Because I really wanted to get, like, I put a lot of work into story, and I had everything mapped out. So just being very consistent with dialogue choices and making sure that I'm not trying not to contradict myself in the story. So I think that, does that answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. The bigger question now is if Noelle's gonna die. But once again, showcasing death quotes, gotta do it.
Yeah, well, she might die. I won't judge how you're playing, because everyone plays different, and that is the beauty of Fire Emblem. So, like, for example, like, I know you have a different archer preference than me.
I typically like ranged units quite a bit. And since I play more defensively, I tend to enjoy more defensive units who can take a hit or two.
Which would be Benji.
So, which would be Benji. He's much more defensive. He has good defense, good resistance, decent power, horrible speed, horrible luck, pretty good skill.
And I would rather have that glass cannon archer in Winifred, who just, on a player phase, just crushes it. But, yeah, and it really does depend on the map. I could see certain maps where I would prefer Benji over Winifred, such as like Chapter 16, where you kind of want to survive some enemy phases. But there's a good balance. I guess also kind of want to get into some of the other classes too in the game that I haven't talked about, because I've also done a lot of custom animations for this, whether that be character specific or class specific. So like I mentioned, the Dark Griffin class that Joseph is on this map, but also Sylvan, if You've already probably used Sylvan.
Nope, I haven't.
Yeah, but there's nothing for him to do.
He's not in range to attack.
Sylvan has a custom brigand animation, and he also has a custom berserker animation. I think I mentioned that earlier, but I also have, there's a male Pegasus Knight unit in this game, and a class called Sky Knight, which are the male Pegasi, and that is an animation that I don't think I needed to do it, but I did do it. I think one actually exists in the repository, but I did make that, and I also made a male Falcon Knight for Curtis, who's the playable Sky Knight in this game. And it's the other major class that I did is it's spoilery, so if someone doesn't want to know about this class, plug your ears. But I'll say it because I did make it, and I should showcase some of the art that I did. But it is a Phoenix Knight, and the Phoenix Knight is a flying unit that rides a phoenix and uses fire magic, staves, and light magic. And it's a promotion of one of the characters. Okay, end of spoiler.
So we'll see how durable your dancer is here.
I mean, dancers aren't really supposed to be durable.
Well, we'll see. So let's see how the fun goes.
So we're almost done here, because... Okay, well at least you didn't get one.
I've been having poor level ups recently.
Unless you're wise.
Quite frustrating. See? She was fine all along. Okay, now we can promote Slayer.
So I will say that one thing, so hard mode will be available in September 2020. And so hard mode, I guess I'll talk about this first. So Liang can promote into an adventurer or a ranger. Adventurer is bows and staves, and ranger is swords and bows. I actually did do edits to an existing animation to sort of make this adventure animation. So I wanted to give, like, you know, the little adventure hat. Also has a +4 res stat boost, which is really nice.
As I said, his resistance is quite high.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there are chapters where Liang can just not take damage. Awesome. Alright, so getting back to hard mode, which I have been putting a lot of focus into. Hard mode isn't exactly a carbon copy of the normal mode, but harder. It is a lot harder. I recently rebalanced that. And hard mode actually offers an additional branching choice map in chapter 14, as well as 2 additional playable characters that you can check out hard mode and try out. And there will also be some other changes in the hard mode later in the story, but I won't get into that because I haven't done that yet, so no reason to talk about things that are unfinished. There you go. Brett got better.
He did. He got a little bit of speed. Not much to help him, but it's okay.
Yeah, I sometimes find it's hard to get Brett to catch up to Joseph. Joseph's been around for a couple more chapters. Although, unless you could really grind Brett at the beginning of the game. I don't think I did this playthrough.
That's unfortunate. Virgil, he's very strong. If he hits. And that's my slight issue with Virgil.
I like Virgil. But I think I like everyone to some extent. Everyone's kind of fun to use.
You did mention that there was one character that always just seems to die on you.
Oh, Travis always dies on me. Travis just has really bad luck, and he just always gets critical hits for me and dies. But he's good though. His promotion options are really interesting. He's the sword knight in the game. And he can actually turn into a magic user, so he's pretty fun. So in addition to working on hard mode, the September 2020 release that I'm going to put out, because this is being recorded before September 2020. It also has 2 additional maps in the main story for both hard and normal, so the game would go up to chapter 29. And endgame will be chapter 32. So the story is almost over. And another thing that I put a lot of focus into is, and I also got some help with, is support conversations. So there will be, wow, zero damage. Smart green unit.
Still attacked.
What I'm trying to do is at least have every character at least have one support conversation option. So there's a lot of support conversations that will be added into the game. Like Brett has one with Atticus that will be in the game. Atticus is a thief, he's not on the map. Sylvan has a good conversation with Ozias, another character that joins later. Basically, I am not forgetting about support conversations, so for people who want more backstory into the characters or in the world, it'll be there, so...
Speaking of supports, do you have a character personality that you really enjoy? That you enjoy writing, or
Oh.
it's just amusing to read about or have fun with during the creation?
I suppose I should pick a character on the map that people know. So... I guess I really enjoy Miles' character a lot. He's a bit of a hothead, but he's like just overall like a nice guy, so I like Miles. He also has like an interesting backstory. I think Wise is actually really cool too, just because I really like the fact that he comes across like really overconfident and he thinks he's pretty much the best at everything. But he's also very self-conscious, so it's sort of like an outlook for him, or an outlet for him, and I think that I find him very interesting as well. But a character that I think is really fun to write is Judge Amanda, who's a villain that shows up later in the game, because she's ridiculous and over the top. Not in like I'm trying to be funny, but just her villainous ways are just she just feels like kind of close to home. That like a lot of people might have like somebody who is very controlling and demanding in their life. So I think she's fun in that regard. Is there any character that you actually like? We're asking you questions, but
I think Helga, a Pegasus Knight that's not on this map, unfortunately.
I like her too.
Is quite amusing, and a lot of her interactions with different people. I feel like, personally, I am not a huge fan of Pegasus Knights.
As a unit?
As a unit.
Or as a character?
They haven't performed well for me in the past. So Benji the Archer, who has a lot of his interactions, a lot of them have vendettas against Pegasus Knights.
Yeah, he does not like them.
Which I find kind of amusing.
I actually think Parvati is kind of funny too.
Parvati has some good moments.
And Parvati, one of her promotions is Trickster, and I kind of think it suits her personality. She's kind of manipulative and tries to get her way all the time.
You've also mentioned that you've had a lot of different map mechanics and objectives, and you've tried to really vary the play style throughout the game.
Come on, Sylvan.
Are there any particular mechanics that you found innovative, or maps that you really enjoyed creating?
Oh. Well. I don't know if there's any one map that I liked creating or building more than the other. There are maps that I find like really interesting. I mentioned it's a jail escape map, chapter 16. I find that very interesting and different from like a typical Fire Emblem play. So, and it also that map has like story elements into it, so I think that map is really exciting. So I'd have to say that one from like a play perspective. But I also like Prelude 3, like 2 against many, because every time you play it, it's like a different experience completely. This map I think is really fun. For me, I like it on hard mode because like it's strenuous, but I like it. But I think every map is pretty fun. Some maps I like more than others for sure, but I actually think the hard mode exclusive map, chapter 14, the new chapter or the alternate chapter 14, is really interesting. Wow, she got strength.
That's unusual.
I don't know if that answered your question completely, but I don't think I had like a specific map that was the most fun to work on. Like
Yeah.
they're all fun.
And I've enjoyed being surprised on a lot of maps in terms of objective changing midway through the map, or
Yeah, that happens
um,
on 2 of the maps. The objective will change halfway through.
or let's see if he hits. He does.
He's been on top of his game today. Wise.
Yeah, he has not disappointed me yet.
But he can always do better.
Always do better.
I think Wise is pretty good. He might be add him to the character on my list that is I use a lot. I think he's one of the better flyers in the game. So you're just gonna like
We'll show off another wind tone, which is very useful on a variety of maps, since it has a range of 3.
it's 2 to 3.
2 to 3.
Yeah. It's a good tone though, but kind of leave yourself open like a archer. But I think you've won.
I think everything's dead.
Yeah. And that's it. That's chapter 19 of The Lonely Mirror. And definitely reach out to me if you have any questions on Fire Emblem Universe, or and check out the ROM hack for yourself. Thank you for joining.